When people first start to practice, most people start with the body. Maybe you come to yoga with an injury. Maybe you come with a question. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're distressed. Many reasons that people arrive in a yoga room. But I often, from my perspective, I say people arrive with a question. Whether you know you have a question or not is another matter. But people arrive with a question because unless you were questioning, you would just get on with life. Something motivates you to question and to arrive. And I think there is a progression, an evolution that goes on. It's part of why I act as I do. We start these classes and there's always a little bit of context, a bit of framing that goes on. Because I see it as my job, not just to teach you asanas and the details of asanas, but it is to open up the subject. Why do we do what we do? So I aim to deliver the details of the practice. But I also aim to frame the practice in terms of the levels, in terms of a point in time, this moment in time. But it recognizes that there is a development, an evolution in the practice. Yoga is said to be a system of vidya. And the word vidya translates as knowledge or wisdom. So how we think about what we do affects the experience of what we do. If you think it's about your hamstrings and your hips, then you're either doing well or poorly based on your flexibility. But if you see the practice as a system of understanding, then that in turn affects how you interact with these asanas. Yoga has always been a system of vidya. And these days it's often handled, I'll say poorly, but it's often handled as a system of exercise or movement. But that was never the subject. And it was never the purpose. And whilst people exercise, they do asanas for exercise and for stress relief, that in itself is okay. But if you want to dip or delve into the subject, there is a progression in understanding. And one of the things that underpins this practice is a recognition of suffering. That human beings suffer. In our society, although variable, our society is a society of wealth. We have all that we need. And yet we don't have all that we want. And often when we get the things that we want, we think we need more, or we think we need other things. And this is something that yoga recognizes and looks into. How do we sit with things? How do we sit with objects? How do we sit with the experiences? How, in fact, do we sit within ourselves? A practice of yoga looks inwards, and it recognizes that there is a development in understanding. And that evolution in one's understanding is central to the progress within a practice.